What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and today we're going to be talking about the Season 4 Zombies update for Modern Warfare 3, the limited round-based content, plus even more. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, drop a like, and I want to remind everybody out there, the Zombies is coming back in its full glory with the launch of Black Ops 6 this October. I know it's going to be folks, after watching this video, they go ahead and comment, oh, but DK, we paid $60+ for Modern Warfare 3, where's all the content? Listen, I hear you, I get it. It's unfortunate to see what has happened with Zombies over the last few years. This is why I say I think Treyarch should only have to work on Zombies for their own Call of Duty titles. If other studios want to take a stab at a Zombies mode, let them do it if they could put in a good amount of dev time into the launch experience and into the post-launch. It's sad to see what has happened with Zombies over the last couple of Call of Duty titles, especially the ones that Treyarch didn't develop. But with that, we also have plenty of brand new article coverage, of course, going up over on detonated.com for those that want to stay up to date with all things Call of Duty. There were so many things to report on over the last couple of days, with even more, I'm assuming, to talk about in the next few weeks as we get some marketing for COD 2024. So first off, let's address the elephants in the room, right? What's going on with the wallet system or even PvP for Modern Warfare 3 Zombies? Two rumored additions to the game that we've been talking about for quite some time. As you guys might remember, a good 2 weeks ago, I made a video talking about the really odd trailer they released for the Night Recon Con Endowment Bundle. For whatever reason, in that trailer, they literally have players fighting on Urzikstan, but it's not the Warzone Urzikstan, it's the Modern Warfare 3 Zombies version of that big map. You can see a mystery box in the background. You can clearly tell from the skybox this is Zombies that they're playing in this trailer, and considering all the recent leaks, newer ones that have popped up as of recently as well, about PvP, I'm like, okay, that could have been our first look at a PvP mode, but for whatever reason, this mode is nowhere to be found for Season 4. Maybe it's being saved for the 5th season, or a surprise later, who actually knows, but we could also assume that maybe it's cut content, something that was worked on extensively over the last few months. For some reason, new info about it got found with the mid-Season 3 update, but maybe it's not happening after all. The wallet, however, I do think is going to be added in kind of quietly through the Season 4 patch notes, maybe at launch or mid-season. I'll keep you guys posted with that, but wanted to get that out the way real quickly. I also want to remind you about the Vanguard Void objective real quick. So if you look at the Vanguard Zombies maps that we have, right, the objective ones at least, Duran Fung, Terra Maledicta, both maps offer the opportunity, and this was after those maps came out, by the way, but both maps offer the opportunity to play a limited round-based mode through an objective portal. On Duran Fung, all you had to do was just open up enough rooms in the map until you got to the Void objective, then you could teleport to a small room in Shinonuma and play that way. But in Terra Maledicta, you had to do the actual quest, or I guess what you can call the main Easter egg on the map, to access this portal. It's not easy to do, but once you manage to get through to the portal, the gameplay was endless, right? You could just play classic round-based in this big space, and it was fairly easy. But I do think, even though these features came pretty late in Vanguard Zombies' life cycle, I think the addition of these features proved that if Treyarch ever wants to do an experimental type mode like Outbreak, Open World, or Objective focused, then if you offer a small round-based alternative within that experience that at least can help players out there, you know, become interested or give that new experience a chance, even if they aren't a fan of Objective or Open World gameplay. Now, obviously, with the rest of Vanguard Zombies' life cycle, they pivoted to round-based, but without going off on a tangent, that was Treyarch's first time working with the Modern Warfare engine, so they had to make Zombies from scratch, essentially, right? Very little was able to be ported over from previous Call of Duty titles, and it was practically a skeleton crew working on that mode, right? It was a disaster, but they actually knocked it out the park with Shinonuma Reborn and the Archon. Both those maps had amazing Easter egg quests, and it was cool to see round-based on the Modern Warfare engine. But taking a look at what is coming to Season 4 of Modern Warfare 3 Zombies, as they confirmed in the blog post, and as you can see on the roadmap, there's just one new feature coming to the game, and it's not going to be until late June, presumably June 26th, which is the rumored release date of Season 4 Reloaded. There's nothing coming day one on the 29th of May, unfortunately. So as they wrote, learn the secret entrances to the unstable rift and face intense waves of zombie hordes until every undead entity is slain or your team is overwhelmed. Notice how they mentioned that there's multiple entrances to the unstable rift, meaning that it's not just going to be one rift that all the squads are fighting over in a single match. As they also added in the blog here, join other members of Operation Deadbolt in Season 4 Reloaded to investigate numerous and violent anomalies lurking within what Ravenov has termed an unstable rift. Deploy to the exclusion zone, aka Urzikstan, and you have to undertake a focused race and challenge to access the entrance into an unstable rift. Time is of the essence, as only the first squad to reach a rift and vote to enter it will be transported into it. Thankfully, several entrances to the unstable rift can appear per match. So at first I'm like, okay, it would have been kind of cool if there was a small quest tied to these rifts, and any squad in your lobby can do do that quest to unlock a rift anywhere, but sadly it's kind of a race to get there. I mean, unless people in your lobby don't keep up with the marketing, then there may not be too many squads going for these right away day one, unless they've watched YouTubers' videos or kept up with the roadmap or watched the trailer. So it is going to be a race to just beat other squads to get to these rifts. Obviously there's RNG involved with where you spawn on the map. Hopefully there's enough entrances to where every squad gets a chance to go into one of these rifts, but I'm doubtful that's going to be the case. Now, as they also added here, this allows you to return to an undisclosed portion of a rift you may have previously visited. However, on this occasion, a large horde of zombies and other grotesque horrors attempt to assault you almost immediately. Intense waves of enemies continuously swarm you until the hordes are slain or your team is overwhelmed. So they confirmed here where we're going to be going in these rifts. This was my big question when we talked about this rumor a good, month ago now. I was like, wait, where are they going to send us? Will it be the Act mission areas? Will it be small portions of Urzikstan or the Dark Aether rifts that we've already been through within seasons 1 through 3? And what do you know? It's going to be, I think, either of these 3 rifts we've already been to from the first few seasons. I guess it's up to RNG to take you to one of the rifts you've already been to. So that's where we're going. And notice how they say a large horde of zombies and other grotesque horrors attempt to assault you. Yeah, that means that we're about to go up against what I'm assuming is like tier 3, tier 4 zombies in round-based form. It's going to be difficult, but for those wondering, well, is it endless? Here's what they said. Clearing an unstable rift of its nightmarish denizens does offer benefits. And no, denizens are not coming back from transit, don't worry. All weapon and schematic cooldowns are immediately wiped and refreshed if you succeed, and if you're a glutton for havoc, you can repeat this activity as many times as your squad can successfully enter an unstable rift. Think about what that means for a second. So let's just assume on Urzikstan, 5 of these unstable rifts spawn in somewhere around the map, and let's say no squad except for yours goes for one of these rifts. You go in, you beat it, you go back to the big map in that same server you were just in, and you have a chance to go to those other 4 unstable rifts that are still just lurking around the big map. You can go into them and beat them if you have time. But let's say you go into a rift, you beat it, and you come back to Urzikstan, but other teams took over the other unstable rifts. There aren't any more opportunities for you to go back into that rift in the game that you're in. You have to exfil and go into a fresh match of Urzikstan to spawn in new Dark Aether rifts, or new unstable rifts, I should say. So what I'll say about that is, number one, I think the reward is genius. You get a big schematic cooldown. That's awesome for those that are like, hey, I don't want to wait 3-4 days to use my Scorcher, or a couple of days to use the Blood Burner, or whatever the item is in your inventory. I think it's great that we now have Essence cooldown that got added with Season 3 Reloaded. So if you exfil with a ton of points, you can reduce your cooldown time. I love that that's a thing, but I think having an instant refresh on all your schematics by doing a tough objective like Void or this unstable rift round based, that's awesome. But I want to say this would have been perfect to have seen many months ago, at least by season 1 the latest, when the first rift got introduced. I think that would have been great if with every season they updated these unstable rifts so that you could spawn into some of the new areas that got added via act missions. The fact that we're waiting until season 4 Reloaded, end of June, nearly the end of the game's life cycle to get this, is a bit unfortunate, because the way I see it is, look, we can refresh all our cooldowns, which is good for your schematic usage, but what are we using the schematics for? What are we facing against inside of the game where we even need schematics anymore? Because at this point I'm like, okay, I've done everything to do in zombies besides grind Borealis, so I'm saving these schematics for the next act mission, the next big Easter egg or challenge, and there's very few of those in this game right now. So what do I need to refresh my schematics for? Now, what I will say is, in terms of this being endless, it's sad that it's not, because I think a massive opportunity for this could have been, okay, you and your squad spawn into an unstable rift, it takes you into a different server like the act missions, and you get stuck in that unstable rift in a different game, and you can just play that endlessly if you wanted. And it's essentially just round based in those Dark Aether rifts they've already added in. That would have been perfect, because as I said many months ago, I only want to grind Borealis if there is an onslaught or little mini round based void objective added to the game. We're getting this, but I guess you can only go so far with grinding your camos in this unstable rift if you eventually can beat this, and then it forces you to go back to the big map. Now, I think it's also problematic to think about the fact that maybe you spawn into a match of Urzikstan with some good loot, and let's say every other squad in the lobby spawn closer to the unstable rifts, they go through all of them before you and your squad can, and what do you know, you just spawn in with a bunch of good loot that you can't even use now because there aren't any unstable rifts that you and your team could go through. So hopefully they add in enough to where every team gets a chance and nobody gets left behind with trying out this new content. But I think the fact that it's not endless really is disappointing for a lot of people out there that especially like the Void objective from Vanguard Zombies, which offered an alternative to a gameplay style that you guys may not have been a fan of. Now, the last thing I'll end with is the argument I see that Sledgehammer is continuously updating multiplayer and that mode's getting such good support. Why don't they take a break from that and update Zombies? Because apparently they're in charge of Zombies now, along with a small team from Infinity Ward, High Moon. I get what you're saying there, right? Multiplayer is obviously not getting as much in Season 4 as we saw in Season 3. That's to be expected though, because they had a promise to fulfill with, 12 original 6v6 maps. They're probably going to start working on other modes for the rest of the year and then their next project after that. But when it comes to Zombies, if, let's say, Sledgehammer had to work on every mode like we typically would see in older COD titles, then you could bet multiplayer wouldn't have gotten nearly as much as it has over the last couple of months. And you can also bet that there would have been maybe some seasons here or there where Zombies nearly didn't get anything. Now, the thing about MWZ is that it was initially made by Treyarch, but they stepped away from it presumably after, what, Season 1? They left a game plan behind for other studios, but apart from that game plan, it doesn't look like the other studios have really had time to add in anything else, which is really unfortunate because I think multiplayer and Warzone have been receiving some of the best updates that both of those modes have ever gotten, at least in recent years. So it's sad to see that Zombies gotten the short end of the stick, but I could really confidently say that it just won't make any sense for Zombies to also get the short end of the stick in a game like Black Ops 6, a title that got 4 years of development, which will inevitably offer some of the craziest Zombies content we've gotten in years. But if I had it my way, I would have hoped that a small skeleton crew at Treyarch or at one of the studios could have continuously kept working on MWZ since after Season 1 when Treyarch left to provide something on par with the kind of standards that multiplayer and Warzone have set over the last 3 seasons. That would have been great, but unfortunately we don't live in a perfect world, and maybe Zombies will get more than we've ever gotten with the next Black Ops installment. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the Season 4 zombie update for Modern Warfare 3? How are you feeling about the limited round-based objective, plus everything else we discussed? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.